In section 2.5, you graphed linear inequalities in two variables, and you only graphed one line. And today you're going to be graphing systems of linear inequalities. So let's just talk about what a system is. And it is a set of two or more inequalities. So when we talk about inequalities, we're just going to be talking about less than, greater than, less than or equal to. Make that a little bit better there. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, with the same variables. Okay, so we have a couple of examples here. The first one, we're asked to graph y is greater than negative x plus 1. So that means we're going to cross at 1 on the y-axis, and we're going to go down 1 over 1. And I mentioned before, not a bad idea to use a lot of points. And before, if this had been an equal sign, we would just draw our line. But because it's an inequality, let's just review. If we have greater than or less than, the line is going to be dashed. If we have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, we're going to have a solid line. Okay, so this is greater than, so that means our line is dashed. And I want you to go all the way across your graph on the coordinate plane and arrows on either side, because that keeps on going forever. And now, in addition to deciding if it's dashed or solid, we also have to decide which way to shade. So this says greater, so we can put our pencil on the y-intercept, and just looking at that y-axis, are the numbers greater than 1 if we point up or if we point down? Well, they're greater if we point up. And you can also use 0, 0 for a test point. So if we do that, we would put 0, 0 here. So let's just substitute the 0 in for y and the 0 in for x. That would say 0 is greater than 0 plus 1. So the question is 0 greater than 1? And that is a false statement. So our point at 0, 0 would be false, and we always shade on the true side. So both ways tell us to shade on this side. Now, don't shade really dark, because what's going to happen is we're going to put another line in that we have to shade, and we want to see where the overlap is. So if you shade too dark, you may not be able to see the overlap. Okay, the second one, so we shaded above here. Let's just fill that in. The second one that we're going to do is y is less than or equal to 2. Well, remember the line y equals 2. I told you that every y coordinate on that line was 2. It didn't matter what x was. We could make it 1, we could make it 2, 3, and so on, but the y coordinate is always 2. So that means we have to have a horizontal line crossing the y-axis at 2, going all the way across the coordinate plane, and arrows at the end of our line. Now we have to decide where we're going to shade. Well, if we go right back to the y-intercept, this says less than or equal to. And because of that, again, the line is solid. So we want to shade below. So I'm going to make my lines the vertically. So now you can see where the solution area is. The solution area is what the shading that they both have in common. So it's right here. And what I'd like you to do is make that area nice and dark, so you can see where the solution area is. So if I can't tell where the solution area is, then I'm going to mark that wrong. Now, we didn't check the second line to see if we shaded correctly. So this is our y is less than or equal to 2. So if we use our test point 0, 0, this doesn't have an x, but it does have a y. So we're just going to plug the 0 in for y. Is 0 less than or equal to 2? Well, 0 is less than or equal to 2, so we did shade on the correct side. So we shaded below. Okay, now I'm going to have you change the scale on the next one just because we're just going over this today. So this scale is different on the X and the Y axis. So we're going to just change it to a scale of 1 on the Y axis. All right, now this says graph the system of inequalities. We have 3 of them here, so we want to classify the figure that's created by the solution region. So we're crossing the y-axis at 1. We have a slope of 2, so up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and we need to look at the inequality. This says less than or equal to, so we're going to have a solid line, and again, going all the way across the coordinate plane, arrows on either end of the line, and now we need to decide where to shade. So going to the y-intercept, this says less than, so you can think less than, low, and we're going to shade. I'm going to shade this one vertical, and again, don't shade real dark because we have 3 now that we need to see where the overlaps are, or where the overlap is on all of them that they have in common. Okay, now we have a y-intercept of 1 again, and we're going to go -1 is our slope, so down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And this is greater than or equal to. So again, we have a solid line. Go all the way across our graph. Arrows on either side. Put your pencil on the y-intercept. And this one says greater than, so we want to shade up. And I'm going to go make a horizontal shade this time. So we can say right now that the overlap is right here. Last one I need to graph is x is less than or equal to 3. So that means every point on my line has an x coordinate of 3. So it would be 3 all the way here, and it's less than or equal to, so I know that my line is solid. This line may need to go just a little bit further. Okay, so my line is solid all the way across the graph coordinate plane. And if I put my pencil here on the line, it says less than or equal to 3. So that means I'm going to be shading to the left. That's where the numbers are less than. So I can shade this on a diagonal. And if you look here, I have a diagonal, a vertical, and a horizontal. And where I have that is right here. So I'm going to darken this area. And we have a triangle. So let's look back to what our lines were. I didn't fill this in with you. So we're going to shade for this line right here. Y is less than or equal to 2x plus 1. We shaded below. For the line y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 1, we shaded above. And for the line x is less than or equal to 3, we shaded to the left. Okay, I'd like you to finish the you try it.